I know what everyone was thinking. They were thinking, man, a global pandemic that's really gonna ruin the budding bromance between me and Rice coach Mike Bloomgren. And yet here we are. You're all wrong. It's Zoom with Bloom. We're joined by the head coach of the Rice Owls, Coach Mike Bloomgren. Coach, how you doing?
Doing great, man.
Good. Well, thanks for your time. First and foremost, I get the most important question is how are you? How's your family? How are you guys handling this?
Yeah, so me and the family, we are healthy and blessed. And, we were talking about it off camera a second ago, but, we're so fortunate right now to have this time together. And then that's got to be the silver lining, because I spend so much of my day worrying about our players and their at-home situations, or how they're virtually learning. Do they have Wi-Fi good enough, and all those kind of things. But I am able to step back and really appreciate some of the good right now. And for our family, it's eating 3 meals a day together like we never have. I mean, even on vacation, somebody's got a tournament, somebody's got to go here with friends. So we're getting a lot of conversations in that I really appreciate.
Well, that's the most important thing, obviously, these days. You are trying to also run a football program. I'm interested in how you're staying connected to your guys, how you're staying connected to your players, and keeping tabs on them.
Yeah, Zoom with Bloom. I mean, that's the deal here too. And we had our first team meeting on the Monday after spring break, March 23rd. We had 105 people on there, counting coaches, and had a chance to really lay things out and give the information that we had, which again seems to evolve every day. Gosh, I don't know if the saying that every day is a new day has ever been more true. But so we got them connected. We made sure that they were in a good place to start school and get that up and running. And then what we've done is 4 days a week, we're having positional meetings, and those have been awesome. And the first 10 minutes is supposed to be mental health. It's been about the first 20, in some cases the first 30 of those meetings, where we're just talking about, hey, what's your battle rhythm? What are you doing? What time are you getting up? What's mom's doing? How's everybody, making? And trying to make sure that we get a little eye time, eyeball to eyeball, and talk to them and make sure that they know how much we care about them, and know that we're always trying to do the best we can for them at all times. And again, that's not going to chill just because we can't see them in person. So again, those are the things that I've been battling, trying to get those guys situated. And that's probably the thing that me and our strength coach have been talking about the most, is we miss that day-to-day interaction with these kids so badly. And gosh, we need them. I mean, that's why we do this.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me to my next question, which is kind of about the challenges that you guys are facing. Obviously, this is uncharted water for everybody. We're all just trying to make it as best we can. But I'm interested, what have you noticed maybe through these first couple of weeks of this that have cropped up that maybe you didn't expect to be challenges?
One of the things is, like, our kids do so well with structure at a place like Rice, and time managers. And I don't know if it's healthy for anybody to have just an inordinate amount of free time on their hands. So that was what we spent our first Wednesday meeting doing, is we sent them out Google calendars and asked them to fill it in and include when you're going to be in class, when you're going to do homework, when you're going to do this workout that we're able to give you, and then your football meetings, and try to structure their life to give them that sanity and some normalcy.
We're talking with Mike Bloomgren, the head coach of the Rice Owls, here on Texas Football Today. Coach, you guys were able to squeeze in 6 practices before everything shut down. 8, 9 practices?
9.
Woo! 9. Man, you're living large.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, that's not nearly enough time. But what do you maybe feel like you got to accomplish during that time you were able to get some spring ball?
Yeah, I think that those 9 practices were amazing for us, because for the first time since we've been here, we have every quarterback that will be on our roster in spring ball. So every single one of those days was so precious. We got a defense that returns 20 of 22 of the 2 deep. So it was awesome to see those guys flying around and really becoming that bully that we think they can be. But also you saw the offense having some success moving the sticks, like maybe we hadn't been able to do in scrimmages in the past, and also having more explosive plays. So a lot of bright spots all around. Certainly wish we were practicing this week, but we know that there's a lot bigger things in this world than football right now. As hard as that is for me to say, we understand the situation of our state, our nation, and the global world. We're not going to make it sound like we need to be practicing football right now. We know we got bigger things to solve, but we sure can't wait to get back to it.
There's obviously another big kind of aspect to your job, and that's the recruiting side. I know that the NCAA has extended the dead period and things like that. How has recruiting changed for you guys? Because I know that, I know you're a guy who, in our conversations, you're a living room guy. You like to get face to face and have that that personal conversation. How has recruiting kind of changed for you guys during this time?
It's changed in the way that we can't have those on-campus junior days. And it's a tough year. Nobody knew this. We thought we were doing the right thing for our assistant coaches as NCAA head coaches when we made February dead. But now you certainly wish you could have those days back and those opportunities to have people on your campus. So what we're doing is we were trying to do a virtual junior day. That kind of got shot down by the NCAA in terms of it's an event with publicity where other people would know who was attending. So we can't do that. So we're just going to kind of do it one-on-one. And so we've made a couple great videos really accentuating our campus, this building, and then our staff and who they are. So we're going to try to get people to sit there and watch them while coming to the complete understanding that anything done digitally is not going to hold people's attention the way it does when you're sitting there in person. So we're going to try to force feed them a little bit of good information about Rice and really whet their appetite for whenever this thing opens back up.
Let's talk about the hottest team in the state of Texas, the only team to win their final 3 games of the year. It's the Rice Owls. Obviously, let's call it a rough first 3 quarters of the year, but a terrific finish. What changed on those final three games that maybe was able to get you guys over the top?
I don't know that anything changed. What I would tell you is that we have such a great group of young men that just kept listening to their coaches and trusting their coaches, trusting me, and kept coming to work. And so again, like you compare year 2 to year 1, and there's no comparison. I mean, when we're fighting Baylor to a last possession, Army to a last possession, when we were getting our heads kicked in by 30, by the time the fourth quarter was over the year before. But that was also a challenge, right? Like I had to make sure that their mamas and daddies that were patting them on the back, that they didn't listen to that, like treat victory and defeat as imposters they are. And certainly anything that's close, like close doesn't count in our game. This is a net zero business, like win, baby. And that's what I had to make them understand. And they did such a good job of continuing to come to work, continuing to fight together. And then, we open it up and have a huge defensive play on the first play of the Middle Tennessee game and end up scoring 41 points in the first half. And it just kind of opened from there. And these guys really believed in each other. I wish we could have played 10 more games than last season.
Yeah, you guys were obviously playing your best ball then. And, the defense, even from 2018 to 2019, made that big leap. I mean, the statistics bear it out. You guys improved by 10 points a game allowed. I mean, just from those raw stuff, it's easy to see. What do you think was the big key for you guys' improvement defensively?
Oh, I think our defensive coordinator, Brian Smith, did a wonderful job. And I think he does a great job with game plans, but it's just everybody having a comfort and understanding within this system. And he does such a good job of like with like. Like, yeah, this may look different, but it's not. You're the 3 flat. It's everything is so consistent in this. And a lot of times the same blitz is just different people doing it. It's a different look to the offense, but our guys just plug and play so well. And I'll never forget, like, this defense and where it stemmed from with Coach Smith's time with Don Brown and his time with Rex Ryan. Like, I remember playing Rex in practice, and I don't know if you remember Chris Jenkins, but he weighed like 340, 350, and he was the nose, and he dropped from the nose to play the Tampa 2 middle drop. And, as an offensive coach, you're like, well, what do you say to the Q about that one? Like, if that picks it off, like, where do we go from here? But we haven't done anything that drastic with the nose drop into the middle third, middle hole, but he's doing a great job really making things consistent for these guys, and they're playing so fast, and they're a confident group right now.
You guys are also absolutely loaded defensively coming back as far as experience is concerned. I read something, a friend of ours, Bill Connolly at ESPN, said you guys are number 1 in defensive productivity returning in all of the nation. So what's that next step? How do you guys make that next step defensively where you guys were good defensively last year? How do you take that next step and become elite?
That is the challenge, and that's a great word. I think elite's the word that we need to use with this group. And if we're not fighting to be the best defense in this conference, we're crazy. Like we're shooting the aim way too low because we can do big things with this group, bringing those 20 to 22 starters and 2 deep back. And then you look at guys like Blaze Aldridge. He just gets me so excited because he's like, Coach, I'm going to play so well this year. People are going to think last year I stunk. And I'm like, hey, man, if you can do that, like, we're going to be good. Like, so that's exactly the kind of thing you want out of your leaders. For them, who, even though he did have a great year, I think he finished in the top 4 in American tackles for loss. But he's like, Coach, I'm taking it to a new level, and I'm holding these guys to that standard. And that's just really been the mantra in our program. Our strength coach, Hans Straub, has done such a remarkable job one of our messages has been, look, rules work, okay? They're good and they can do their job, but everything's better when you have standards and when your leaders uphold them.
Let's talk about the other side of the ball. Let's talk about the offense. And plain and simple, I'll just ask you, how do we get this offense stuck out of the mud?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think consistency of the quarterback position is going to be a big deal for us. And then the offensive line just has to be better. And obviously that's something that's very personal to me. I take a lot of pride in that position. And we've got a new coach there in Sanders Davis, who was our GA in that room last year. He's the offensive line coach. I'm kind of in there full time right now. Me and him are having the best time. We had so much fun in those 9 practices of spring ball, running the room and running drills. And it's just been really healthy for me.
You mentioned the quarterback situation. Obviously you said you guys were able to have nine practices. You have the whole quarterback room there for those 9 practices. Do you have any clarity? Is it still up in the air? I mean, obviously everything's up in the air at this point, but is there any clarity, do you think, on the quarterback situation as of yet?
You know, I don't know if there's complete clarity. That would be great, right? To say that this guy's absolutely snatched the job and he's never going to let go. And I don't know if we're there, but the leaders in the clubhouse right now are Mike Collins, who transferred to us from TCU, started a few ball games for them, and Giovanni Johnson, who started a game for us last year. We also have Wiley Green that's still doing some really nice things and been really productive. I mean, he really had a couple practices there towards the end of spring where it was like, man, he's throwing the ball well. He's making great decisions. So those 3 are kind of the top tier right now, with Giovanni and Mike Collins as the leaders in the clubhouse.
As far as big play guys are concerned, you guys have a bevy of receivers back, a lot of weapons on the outside, and you kind of buoy that with I thought a potentially very explosive group of guys in your 2020 recruiting class. Do you feel like there is a game breaker on campus right now that can maybe take the lid off of defense?
Yeah, we do. We saw some things from Cam Montgomery, who ran a 10.4 as a junior in high school. We saw some things this spring from a consistency standpoint and a holding on to the football standpoint, because we always knew he had the explosive capability. But when he did those other things, those just led to those big plays happening this spring, and that was awesome. Last time I was on the show, you and I talked about Juma. Mm-hmm. And Juma obviously was injured pretty much all last year. Wasn't the year he wanted to have, but he is healthy now, and gosh, he had a great camp as well. So that's 2 at the running back position. Now you go out there and you look at who we're bringing in. You mentioned in this class, we got a guy named Andrew Mason who had 8 touchdowns in a game, and he's running a 4.3 at Duke's camp, so he can absolutely run. And then we have some consistent guys that are, maybe more inconsistent. That's an unfair term. That sounds like somebody's just chopped liver, and that's not the case. Like Austin Trammell's our captain on offense, had 60-plus catches the last 2 years and each year, and Bradley Rosner proved to be a downfield threat and went up and made some great plays against whoever we were playing, whether it was University of Texas or Middle Tennessee. I mean, he was going and catching the ball and making plays to put points on the board for this team.
One last question for Mike Bloomgren of Rice here. Coach, I want to show you something. I'm going to see if I can get this right. I was doing a little bit of research before this to find, some information, some good questions to ask you. Have obviously come up short, but I did find this, and I want to get your take on what we're looking at here. Man. What am I looking at here, Coach?
So that looks like something called Oklahoma drill, as it used to be called. Now at Rice, you're not allowed to do that anymore, so we run something a little different, but we still make sure we can get our hands in the right place and drive people off the rock. The guy over my left shoulder right there is a guy named Joe Nixon, and he is a head high school coach right now in North Carolina, where Catawba is, and he is absolutely rocking it. So I'm really proud of him. That's a blast from the past right there. I don't know what to say about those Oakleys. Those are pretty old.
It's a good look. I like it, Coach. Maybe we need to bring that back.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. My wife wishes you could bring that physique back. I bet you that.
Well, he is Mike Bloomgren. He's the head coach of the Rice House. Coach, really appreciate your time. Please stay safe and take care of what you need to take care of. And let's plan on seeing each other in the fall.
Man, thanks so much. Thanks for taking the time to let me on. I do regret we didn't get to do it in your studio. I didn't get to flip through all the years, but I could actually use some right now. I got time on my hands. If you want to send me a couple old vintage ones to flip through,
I'll find a couple. I'll put them in the mail for you.
You're the best. Thanks so much. Have a great day.